Well, good afternoon and welcome back to another empowerment workshop with the Lexington Housing Authority. It's been a little while. Last month we were in the community. It was a wonderful event with Hope Food Truck as we were doing our community enrollment um, event for enrolling people into our family self-sufficiency program. The turnout was amazing. We had over 15, almost 15 people inquire. That was pretty major for us. And, we haven't been able to touch and be out in the community and get to see you guys like we would like to. But we were so grateful to kind of get back out there. It was hot, wasn't it, Miss Sage? It was so hot, but we really enjoyed it. And again, we just another special thank you for Hope Food Truck for coming and sponsoring our event and being able to provide free food for our residents. I didn't get a chance to enjoy the burger, but I was grateful that all the kids and all the community was able to enjoy that. And again, we are just so grateful to be back. We are here again with another amazing virtual workshop. And this month we're actually going to be talking about mental health. So we have an amazing speaker with her. Her name is Miss Judith Johnson Hostler. Did I say it right? Okay. And she is a national certified counselor, and she's actually located in Raleigh. So as you know, we are pulling some amazing speakers. Thanks to Miss Sage for always working her connections to be able to get these speakers here. And I'm so grateful for you taking time out of your day to present really good information with our community. And again, for those who don't know, I am Whitney Middlebrooks. I am the Family Self-Sufficiency Program Coordinator. And me and Miss Sage, we work hand in hand with the B.O.S.S initiative. And again, we're just here to provide good information, uplift you, build you up, provide resources and connections to information that you can use throughout your life, whether it's right now you need it, or if it's something that you might need later. So I always say, have your little handy dandy notebook and your pen, because there's always some good information that we can, jot down and remember and apply later. So again, if you're in the room, we have one person, Miss Brandy Spencer. Hello, Miss Brandy. Thank you for attending. And Miss Sage, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce our wonderful speaker today.
Thank you, Whitney. So here we are once again with our virtual learning series, B.O.S. I am the program coordinator for B.O.S, which means Building Our Success Stories. And B.O.S initiative means that we want to inspire, educate, and elevate your skill set. So each month we are addressing issues and things that are practical that you can work into your everyday life. And today, we're going to address something that most people don't want to talk about, but there is not a single person that's not impacted or affected by mental health. And so today I have a wonderful presenter who I really admire and deeply respect by the name of Judith Johnson Hostler. And she is a licensed professional and clinical mental health counselor. Today, what she's going to do is present demystifying mental illness, demystifying mental health and the importance of mental health. So Judith is a counselor who is nationally certified. She has obtained her master's degree from North Carolina Central University in clinical mental health counseling. And her first master's degree is in psychological counseling from Monmouth, New Jersey, Long Branch, New Jersey. Ms. Hostler is a master's level clinician who has 20 years experience in the addiction field. Presently, she's employed at the Alcohol Drug Council of North Carolina as the coordinator for the state's personal substance use project. She also sees clients virtually in her private practice at Denome Alliance Counseling Center located in Holly Springs, North Carolina. She is a native of Ashbury Park, New Jersey. She moved to Raleigh nearly 10 years ago and fell in love with the South. Judith is passionate about her work as it relates to helping individuals overcome obstacles that might hinder their emotional, spiritual, physical, and personal growth. She finds great pleasure in watching individuals use skills learned through counseling, coaching, and ministry as a tool to find or recover skills and personal strengths that lead to a joyful and successful life. Her career path has been directed towards gender responsive care with a focus on trauma informed care. Her mission is to be God's conduit that helps those that she counsels understand and internalize that they are enough. And without no further ado, I give you Miss Judith Johnson Hostler.
Thank you, Sage. You said that name so Hostler. I am so glad to be here today. So I will, Whitney, do you mind pulling? Well, you know what? We don't have to pull up the slides yet. So today in
You're muted.
I'm just running my mouth.
Well, before you do that, I just want to make a note that we definitely encourage people to interact. If you have a comment or question, definitely leave it there. We want to make it, we can't actually physically be there with you, but definitely if you have a question, put it in the chat. I'll be sure to have it on the screen and Miss Judith will be able to address it.
Yes, thank you. So if you have questions while I'm presenting, just don't wait until the end. Make sure you put the questions in the chat and Whitney and Sage will respond and I'll answer the questions for you. So today we are going to cover, I hope that you'll be able to leave here with the increased knowledge concerning mental health. We'll identify several mental health stability and emotional wellness tools. We'll cover how mental health has been affected during COVID-19. I have a wonderful list of resources that I'll share with you at the end. So, Whitney, if you don't mind, can you pull up the video?
Video? Okay.
This video will cover myths about mental health.
It's coming up in 1 second.
Okay.
My friend continues to cancel our weekend plans because she says she is not in the mood. I don't understand why she can't just snap out of it. I wish I could help her. I miss my friend.
I worry that my daughter won't be able to get a good job because of her mental health condition.
These are some of the common myths people believe about mental health. However, having a better understanding of the truth can help you understand what your friends or loved ones are going through. Myth: people with mental health problems are dangerous. Fact: people with mental health conditions are no more likely to be violent than anyone else. In fact, only 3 to 5% of violent acts can be attributed to individuals living with a serious mental health condition. People with a serious mental health diagnosis are actually 10 times more likely to be the victim of a crime compared to those without a serious mental health diagnosis. Myth: people with mental health needs can't work. Fact: 1 in 5 American adults experience a mental health issue. Your coworker may be one of them, but you may not know it unless they share this with you. People with a mental health condition contribute just as much to our workplaces and society as everyone else. When an individual receives quality treatment and support benefits, it can lead to a decrease in total medical and disability costs, and an increase in productivity and work attendance. Myth: mental health is caused by personality flaws or a lack of willpower. Fact: people don't choose to be unwell. There are lots of factors that lead to someone developing a mental health condition, such as genetics, family history, physical illnesses and injury, brain chemistry, or trauma and abuse. Myth: treatment is black and white. For example, thinking therapy and self-help are a waste of time. Why bother when you can just take medication? Or medications are unnecessary and don't work. If you just work through your issues, you don't need medications. Fact: treatment varies by personal needs and could include only medication or only talk therapy. But for many people, it involves a combination of both. Myth: mental health conditions are rare. Fact: many people may experience a mental health condition in their lifetime. Myth: once you have a mental health condition, you will never recover from it. Fact: people with certain mental health conditions can improve, and some recover completely. No one's recovery journey is the same, and the meaning of success looks different for everyone, and that's okay. Don't judge those who need more time, and support or expect healing to look the same for everyone. Many people may experience a mental health condition during their lifetime. When we all have a better understanding of the truth behind mental health, we are better equipped to give and receive the help people need to recover.
Thank you, Whitney. I'm sure that that video, many of us have heard some of those myths. And one thing that is true is that knowledge is power. And so it's important that we have the information so that we can make decisions about our mental health, the wellness, just like when we go have a doctor's appointment. So when they're looking at us physically, it's important that we're also in touch with our mental health and how we're doing. And so we can move to I believe we covered the objectives, and the next slide. Okay, so this slide covers mental health and also substance use during the pandemic. So I know many of us are ready to get out and about, but it's been a long 15 months that many of us have been working from home. And so people have, their mental health has been affected by this. So during COVID-19, economic recessions has negatively affected people's mental health and created new barriers for people who may have had issues or just new onset of issues. So when we look at this slide, this is a census report from 2020. It will cover the ages from 18 to 65 plus. So we see that 18 to 24, those numbers are really high. And so according to this report, 4 in 10 adults in the U.S. experience mental health concerns during COVID-19. So we can move to the next slide. Okay, so COVID-19 and your mental health. So during this time, there was a lot of stress for some people, anxiety, depression, alcohol use, and substance use, and tobacco use. So stress, anxiety, and fear, and sadness and loneliness was very present for many people during this time. Mental health disorders, including anxiety and depression, got worse. I've seen in my own private practice that there was an increase in numbers. Usually every year we see in the summertime, I see a decrease. But starting last March, there was an increase in my practice. We have a long waiting list of people, and the people are still coming. So surveys show a major increase in the number of U.S. adults. I went over that with the chart and compared to surveys in the past before the pandemic. So some people have increased their use of alcohol or drugs, thinking they can use these to, maybe it started off with just a glass of wine, but it has an increase because we're home, not seeing family, not seeing one another. Contact with each other matters. And so people with substance use disorders, their issues worsened, and it is noted that tobacco, opioids, and have likely gotten worse during this time. The next slide. So why do we speak about mental illness? So when all is well, often we underestimate the importance of being mentally healthy. We often tell ourselves that mental illness only affects other people. It's not in my home, not in my backyard, but we know today that that's not true. If it's not in your own home, but it may be someone that you know. So mental illness is a disease that disrupts a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to the extent that their social, integration becomes problematic, and their ability to function and their relationships become compromised. The key element of mental illness is the suffering is often associated with different things. So as they mentioned in the video, even a trauma could cause mental illness. Doesn't mean that it's a permanent situation, but it could be, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. So it could be addressed through medication and counseling. So many people fear mental illness. There was a parent in the video that thought that because her child had mental illness, that she wouldn't be able to grow up and be successful. That's not true. So this fear dissipates as they become more informed. So as I mentioned, knowledge is power. When we have the information, we're able to make better decisions. Okay, Whitney. So wellness, caring for yourself is the #1 priority. That almost looks like a real selfish statement. But when you get on the plane, they tell you, if you have your child with you, put the mask on yourself first and then your child. So if we're unable to help ourselves, we can't help those that are connected to us. So during this time, many people got very creative. They tapped into things that wasn't aware that was present in their life. I have a friend that started an amazing business during this time. So this was a time that you can tap into your creativity, just see what is going on for your own life. We had a unique opportunity. We've never experienced anything like this. So focus on caring for yourself, make decisions to grow. So that might be even to tap into a lot of the free resources that we've seen in social media. There was all types of conferences that were free. I just found so many resources for myself, and it seemed to help during this time. So the next slide. So self-care strategies. So here's a few of them. So take care of yourself, participate in regular activities. So self-care strategies are good for your mental health and physical health. So that means you might get up in the morning, take a walk. Doesn't have to be really far. It might be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You might find you're able to even work it up to an hour. So take care of your body and connect your mind. Connect with others to benefit your mental health. That's eating well, get enough sleep, go to bed at a decent time. Stick to one of the things that I found was helpful during this time, because when it first happened, I would get up. If I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, that was when work started. And then I would just work until maybe 8 o'clock at night. And so what I found that I had to do was to stick to my regular routine and just have that routine. If I was going to get up and leave the house and get to work by 9 o'clock, I would do a 9 to 5. And so it made that difference for me, because in the beginning, I felt such anxiety because it was such I was just unsure what was going to happen. It felt like in March, when they told us we were working from home, that we would just be home for maybe a couple of weeks, and then it turned into months. And so I needed to stick to the routine, get up, get dressed, do my hair, and just like I was going to work. So I found that to be very helpful. So participate in regular physical activity, I mentioned. That helps with reducing anxiety. It improves your mood. You feel really wonderful. Now, I don't know what your activity is, but it's just moving. It could be a Zumba class. It could be, and that's on virtual. You might be home doing a Zumba class, walking, running, whatever it is that works for you. I've seen a lot of people bike riding this summer. So find an activity that includes movement and maybe even your backyard, planting a garden. So eat healthy, choose a well-balanced diet meal. Now, if you don't have a backyard to plant a garden in, just pick your own little personal pot where you can just create something right in your own environment for you. So avoid tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. If you smoke tobacco or vape, it puts you at higher risk for medical issues. So there's a lot of resources around help. I'm not sure if I even added that resource in. If I didn't, what I will do is I'll give Sage the YouTube to quit website if I didn't add it to the resources. Do we have any questions?
Well, I just wanted to mention actually, like, doing different things to get physically active. Over the pandemic, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy skates. So I was like, I don't know the last time I've like skated, but like I bought, and you know what? Skates were very hard to find because hundreds and thousands of other people were thinking the same thing. They even talked about how bikes were hard to find. So I bought skates, and it was fun. It was a struggle because skating on concrete, but I'm just sharing that because it's something that you don't even think about. Just doing something different, getting outside. I know we were cooped up, and it's like, I got to do something with this energy. So skating, and at one point they did open up the rink. Me and my family went. Of course, we had to wear our masks and social distance, but that was just a really good, cool, and fun activity that if any of our participants that have children are, watching, take your kids skating or buy them some skates. See if they have some gently used skates somewhere or a bike, and just get outside, and just be able to kind of release some of that stress to get some good physical activity. So I just wanted to share that.
And Whitney, that is a good resource. I had a friend when I moved here to North Carolina invited us to a skate party in Raleigh. And I can skate. And so, but I couldn't skate like they were skating. They were line dancing on the skates. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so that was one of the things that I thought about doing during the pandemic. And they were really hard to find. Everybody. Bikes and skates, they were gone. But what I did see was the North Carolina Art Museum is right near my house. So that's a big outdoor, and people were out there having picnics, just enjoying the nature, having picnics, roller skate, and something I haven't seen in years, people doing outside. So that did make a difference. So this, I think, the next slide is actually, there's a few different things here that you can do as far as self-care. So I did mention get enough sleep. One of the things that they say, and I know that it's really hard to turn off your telephone, but they said that that blue light in the background makes a difference. So they said if you can, if everybody's in your house, you're not concerned with family members or someone that's on the outside that may need to call you, turn off your phone and your other devices. They said the blue light makes a difference in getting sleep. As I mentioned on the other slide, physical health activity is important. Limit your screen time. I don't know about you, but I can sit there, turn on Law and Order, and probably watch 5 of them back to back, which is, I don't feel good about doing that for me. That doesn't work for me. So they have a few little tips here. Sleep, stretching, walking, exercise, your nutrition, yoga. None of this stuff do you have to, do you have to sit down and do 2 hours walking? Just a little bit. It makes a difference. I'm telling you, if you try it, when I see clients in my private practice that are concerned that they have anxiety and they're a little nervous about going on medication, one of the first things I do is I encourage them to get a physical exam to make sure that there's nothing going on medically with them. And then after that, I talk about what are your concerns with taking medication. And if your concern is you just don't want to take it, you feel like you'll be stuck on medication for the rest of your life, try physical movement. It will make a difference. It releases those endorphins and you feel really good when you get out there. It makes a difference. So emotional stress management. Now, one thing that I will say also is that when you're looking at social media, pick what you're looking at. Sometimes you can find things that just will have you feeling like your life is not magnified the way you see, other people's lives. And so sometimes just be mindful of what you're looking on social media. Make sure that it's encouraging to you. That will help with managing your stress. So they have a list of compassion. Compassion is important even for yourself. Show compassion to yourself. Therapy, journaling. Journaling is wonderful. In self-care, even, just having the opportunity to look back on a journal that you might have had 4 or 5 years ago. If you don't journal, try it. That might be a new thing that will help with wellness and your own mental health. So social boundaries. So we know we had to set a lot of those. And what people did, they did virtual parties. I was sharing with Whitney and Sage when we first came on how I participated in a few great virtual events during this time. So spiritual is important. Now you pick what works for you. We talk about meditation, prayer, nature. I mentioned that earlier, that just getting on the outside, seeing the sun, find a new hobby. Maybe take a list of hobbies and of different things and just try new stuff. Safety, healthy environment, budgeting. I believe you guys already had someone talk about budgeting with you, and work time management. So the next slide, we're going to cover resources in North Carolina. So I have a list of resources here. All of the links are operable if you're able to get the PowerPoint. If not, the telephone numbers are listed for many of them. So the Alcohol Drug Council, they service substance use facilities. So if a person had a substance use issue or concern, they would be able to contact this number and be referred to anywhere in the state of North Carolina. They have a robust database system that is updated on a regular. The Nome Alliance Counseling Center, this is the counseling center where I work. Emotional Wellness Toolkit, that's another great resource. Fetal Alcohol Prevention Project. So fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is a disorder that occurs when a mom drinks during pregnancy. So if you go to this website, they are able to answer any questions you have, and they're also even able to come out to your community and do training. So Hope for NC Helpline, these were 2 helplines that were put in place during COVID. The helpline for healers and a helpline for individuals that are seeking care in North Carolina. I also included the National Alliance on Mental Health, Mental Illness, NAMI. I included the link that is here for North Carolina. The Opioid Exposure Project. This is a project that I worked on with myself and some colleagues in North Carolina, where we looked at opioid use during pregnancy and just questions that the provider might have, the woman that is pregnant that maybe was on medication or even used them illicit drugs during her pregnancy. So this is a great resource where you can get a lot of questions answered. There's videos there around the Perinatal Substance Use Project, which is a project that will connect women to treatment in North Carolina. The Mental Health National Line, and the other 2. So the Perinatal Substance Use Project, when Sage introduced me, this is the project that I'm the coordinator over in North Carolina. And Triangle Marriage and Family Therapy, that is a link for Christian counseling. And I think that's it. That's all I need.
Yeah. Do we have any questions? Questions?
So I have a question to ask. So I wanted to know what we mentioned earlier. If a person has mental illness, is that a permanent situation? If a person is experiencing depression or anxiety, is that something that they'll live with for the rest of their lives?
So is that going to be the question that you're going to ask when we ask at the end? Okay, we're not there yet, though.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we have more time, but that's good that we know what that question is going to be. Okay, so just keep that in mind, those who were listening.
I'm also want to note that I am going to list those resources on our Facebook page. I'm actually going to put them in, how you had it in the order. So for those that want to go back and refer to that and seek some information or contact those, sources on your own, feel free to do so. I'm going to have that up very shortly.
And those two resources that I work with, the Alcohol Drug Council and the Perinatal Substance Use Project, I know that a person could call that 1-800 number, 1-800-688-4232. They can call that number 24/7. From 7:30 to 6 o'clock, there's a live person answering it. And after that, it is referred to our answering service, but if the woman is pregnant, they will connect her with me directly.
Oh, awesome.
So what we covered is the importance of you taking care of your mental health. We looked at the myths around mental health and how just having the information will make a difference for you. So I think, is there any questions, Whitney? I don't see anything in the chat.
Well, I have a few questions that might flush out some of what you said, because I wonder, I heard someone say to me today, I was speaking to someone earlier, I was speaking to Bethany, and she talked about the community and how, there was a time in which the community had a forum in which they could speak. And she could hear that people had pent up frustration. And she could hear that there might have been some anger and frustration. And so could you tell us, because the community oftentimes is in denial about the importance of mental health. They might blame everything else or everyone else and not realize that their hopelessness might be attached to depression, or them feeling anxious might actually be anxiety or anger long held. So could you kind of help us understand what anxiety might look like for somebody, or what depression? Because sometimes I might have a family member and they don't get out of bed and they're not looking for jobs, and I'm like, they so lazy, and the person might really be. So that's my question.
That's a really good point, Sage. So I'll start off even with if a woman was pregnant and delivered the baby, so postpartum, or it could even occur during pregnancy, where a person someone will say, "Oh, you just got the mommy blues." Well, there's a big difference between mommy blues and depression. And so depression looks different on everyone, right? So it looks different on everyone. I mean, of course, we have the DSM-5 that helps clinicians make the diagnosis, but it could look different. So if it's a person that you are familiar with their habits and you see a major shift in them, you can have that. You can just have that. Just ask them what has been going on with you. Have you been getting up out of bed? Are you eating? Because that's one of the things, they'll stop eating. Even if we can't see each other, are you able to reach out to people and make phone calls? I did see a huge increase in young people that I serve in my project. So in the practice, so young people that are feeling unsure, having a lot of anxiety, maybe just anxious feelings, unable to focus, unable to stick to any type of routine. And so I would say that each person is different. sit down and ask them the particular questions if you're familiar with them, if there's a major shift in their behaviors. And one thing is that if a person doesn't have insurance, sometimes they're a little nervous. Well, if I go to the doctors, how am I going to pay for this? But there's a lot of free resources out there. Today, because of COVID, a lot of counseling has opened up, and even with where there's no fees to pay. So there is resources out there. And often in our community, people wouldn't go seek mental health counseling because that meant that something was wrong with them. They were weak. There's a sign of weakness when we often show a sign of resiliency. That doesn't mean that we're not resilient if we go and see a therapist.
I'm glad you addressed that. Do you have any suggestions of how to get around stigma? Because I know as a professional, that's one of the battles. You know, I'm a community health educator, and that's one of the main things is that we want to decrease the stigma and shame attached to it. So you have any suggestions, or what kind of approaches do you try to take to help people with that or the community?
Well, I just would explain to them that depression or anxiety or other mental illnesses could occur to anyone. It depends what is going on with them. I mean, you could lose a family member and slip into depression because of this trauma, something that you're not sure, how am I going to deal with this? And that unaddressed trauma could lead to substance use, right? So you got this unaddressed trauma. Now you're trying to nurse that empty feeling with alcohol or marijuana or whatever substances. And so it could start just right there. You know, just, okay, I'm feeling that loss. I've had a major shift in my life and I don't know what to do. I'm not talking to anyone about it. I pretty much have shut down. And so I'm finding comfort in the spirits that are in the alcohol. so that's, I try to let the person know, especially a young person, that there's nothing wrong with talking to someone about your situation and what's going on with you. It doesn't make you weak. The resilience is in moving forward and just moving through it. So that's what I would say, Sage. I think you're muted. Okay.
I thank you for that, because I realize that when it comes to mental health, a lot of people don't know that it takes a lot of strength to ask for help. And that is something that, especially when you're dealing with BIPOC or Black, Indigenous people of color, you're dealing with those communities. A lot of times they don't want to go outside of the community to get help. So that's really good. And you kept bringing up the word resilience. And that kind of ties into, I guess, the question, would a person carry this for the rest of their life? Or all the things that you address as far as self-care, you know, how does that tie in? Because if you're depressed, you might not want to go to the gym.
Well, that's when you have to use that self-talk. You do just a little bit. If that means that if I walk to the top of my hill and that's 10 minutes and 10 minutes back, that's doing something. That's drawing the curtains in your house, just opening them up and just letting the sun come in. I mean, something just as little as that could shift everything for you. I remember when I was, I probably was like in my 30s, I was having a moment where I was feeling like everything was just spiraling down. And so it was actually my person that sold me life insurance. And I said, I'm just feeling so blah, I don't know what it is. And it seemed like I was in a place that once one thought came, another one came. And I could literally feel myself spiraling down. He said to me, girl, if you don't get out of that bed and just open them curtains, Let the sun shine in, you are fine. As long as you can put one foot in front of the other, you are good. And I'm telling you, when I have a moment, not to say that I don't have down moments, because I do. I remember him saying that to me, and I just, all right, you had your moment, snap out of it. And so it's self-talk could make the difference. And it doesn't have to be nothing huge. You want it to be something real small. Girl, you can do this. You got this. You can move past this. Something so small that when you think about it, you can just bring it to your mind. Say it to yourself and I don't have to do a lot, but I need to do a little bit. I need to, if I'm not going to eat a whole plate, I need to eat just a little bit of something, piece of fruit, have some water, hydrate myself, maybe do a little writing. So it's just a little step. Just those little steps will make a difference.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that I think when the insurance person told you, like, look, if you can get up out that bed, open them curtains up, it's kind of like when you're sick. You ever be sick, and if you literally just lay in the bed all day, you actually feel sicker. It doesn't. It's like you're like, I feel worse. But even when you're sick and just truly not feeling well, I've had moments where if I get up out the bed and I actually even go outside for a second or walk around, I notice that I don't feel so sluggish anymore. It's just the act of getting up, the act of, doing, like you said, that physical activity, which can be simply walking outside for a second and checking the mail. It kind of, fresh air on your skin. And I'll just say, like, even throughout this pandemic, I've always felt like I've been very mentally strong, but I don't know what the pandemic came just like this to me. And I've dealt with some other, I'm like, now where did this come from? I've never thought of that, but it's time I had sat with myself, had to deal with things, was faced with things. So I'm sharing that to say that even someone that you all may look at me as, the FSS coordinator, like, oh, Miss Middlebrooks, Whitney, she got it together. Well, no, I'm human too, but I have chosen to fight through. I have chosen to move forward. I have chosen to be accountable. I've chosen to, make sure that I'm doing things to keep myself good, because that's important. So I'm saying that none of us are exempt from any type of mental health issue. There are variations to it, but we all in some way experience it. So I just want to encourage everyone. And I want to put this comment up from Miss Spencer. She stated, be careful who you ask. If you want to kind of piggyback on that or expound on that, what are your thoughts about that?
So I would say that's very important. So you can't go to someone that has a negative outlook in life and ask them, what steps do you need to take to move in a positive direction? If they're not able to do it for themselves, they're not going to be able to provide you the appropriate information. So look at the circle that you have around you and see who, it might not even be someone that you have around you at that time. It might be a new person. As I mentioned earlier, there has been a lot of resources that came out during this time. I've seen creativity that I've never seen before. So it might be someone that you've seen in a particular social media event, or maybe resources that are available to you in your community. But it is true. Be careful who you ask for help if they're not someone that's positive.
Absolutely.
Before we go to the question, I want to say I was really glad that Whitney said, yes, I have a position, I have a title, I'm in the community, I'm visible, but that doesn't mean that I always have to hold it together. I have to do the things to keep it together. And that's one of the things that I think that we got to be strong can really be to our detriment, right? I got to be strong. I'm the strong Black woman, or I'm the strong whatever your title or whatever it is. So that was really good that, she said that. And then I think I remember you are the one who said this to me, Jude. You said, yeah, there was a time where somebody said to me, think of all of the people waiting for you who need your help if you just stay there, no matter what, how dark, or if you're depressed or whatever, like the work that Whitney does in the community, if she just gave into that, the work that you do, if you just gave into that, say, I give up. There's tons of people that wouldn't benefit. And I think it was you that told me that. Yes. This has been beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to add any more thoughts in our chat? Or if not, we can definitely go ahead and move forward. Again, thank you, Ms. Judith.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good. I'm so on time about, and some people might think, we always talk about mental health. Listen, in order to even change any action, we really have to change ourselves inside. Before I can really do something, I have to work on my inside. I have to work on me. And I know with the FSS program and the B.O.S., we always wanted to push success stories and getting out and doing this, but oftentimes we are just so in our head. How do we move forward? So that's why me and Ms. Sage really appreciate these types of workshops, because they may not be necessarily tangible, right? It's not like this gift, what I'm saying? Like you can get something that you can physically take, but these nuggets and this information and those resources that I just put on our Facebook page, I pinned it to the top, are so crucial. When you really need some help and you're really going through it, really, that's all that matters, And again, I just wanted to thank you. If you want to go ahead to the question, if you want to use the same one or a different one, it's up to you.
So the question is, if an individual has mental health, is this a permanent situation that they'll have for the rest of their lives? And even if they decide to go on medication, would that mean that for the rest of their lives that they'll be dealing with mental health issues and need to be on that medication?
Okay, you see that on the screen from Ms. YouTube. This is her response.
Oh, the person said no. And that is Bethany Ely. I hope I said it right, Bethany?
Correct.
Put in the quote and let me know I got it right. Bethany Ely.
That is correct.
No. So it could be a temporary situation. Your doctor and you make the decision if medication is appropriate for you, and counseling. If you were on medication, it doesn't just work by itself. It's not like a magic pill. Well, I'm going to take this medication and that will be it. It's best coupled with counseling. So thank you, Bethany. And again, thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here.
No one has any more questions. Ms. Bethany, as you know, actually we won't be in the office tomorrow, so we'll arrange for you to come and pick up your. Well, actually, before we go, our one of our board commissioners, Miss Ms. Gregory, is in the room, and she just wanted to add, no, but you do need to monitor yourself and take care of yourself. So thank you for chiming in on that, Ms. Gregory. So good to have you always on the room and supporting us as we do these workshops. As I was saying, definitely I'll contact you via email, and we will arrange to get the gift on Monday after 10 a.m. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Again, do you want to close out with anything, Ms. Sage, or is there anything you wanted to add?
Just wonderful for us to have this time together. And last month was a success. I was really happy for family self-sufficiency that we were able, after 15 months, to really put a face out there and be back in the community. I want to just extend my thanks to Ms. Hostler for coming and taking out her time from her day and her very, very, you can only imagine, busy schedule.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Whitney.
You're very welcome, guys. We're going to close out. We will see you all next month. Thank you.